So last time we watched a video about Clash Royale, it was about how it died or was dying. And now apparently it's making a major comeback. So let's see what's going on.
Is buffed. Royale Reborn. Is this the new era of Clash Royale? But no new update, no miracle fix.
I love how, dude.
But
look at this.
No new
I love how he priced this $15,000. Jesus, dude.
update, no miracle fix. Yet somehow Clash Royale is blowing up. Revenue record-breaking. Interest exploding. Streamers flooding back. How did this happen? And more importantly, will it last? This is the Clash Royale comeback nobody saw coming, and it might be unstoppable. Part 1. The comeback in numbers. In March of 2025, Clash Royale earned just over $15 million. Respectable, but, nothing groundbreaking. Then came April. Revenue climbed to $17 million.
But how, okay, I'm sorry, but I just have to say, I don't understand how people are still paying for Clash Royale right now, especially when they've been done, like the whole community has been done dirty so many times. Like, for me as a player that I guess casually spend some money here and there on the game, I'm not a big spender by any means at all, and I don't really want to spend on Clash Royale even when I was playing it, but I still I was pushed away from the game, so the fact that it still makes as much money as it does kind of baffles me in some sense. Like, to me personally, with all the problems that it had, I don't understand why it still gets the amount of revenue that it does. But I understand that it is a global game, so it's money from all over the world, not just one particular place. But at the same time, I would tend to say that the people that do continuously play the game, despite the flaws and despite what the updates have brought to the table, that these people are the ones that genuinely try to still I guess get to the top of the ladder with the current pay to win meta that's been going on lately.
And in May, $28 million. Let that sink in. That is nearly double in just 60 days. A massive spike, a number that has not been seen in years on this game. But this isn't 2016 launch hype. This is 8 years later. Clash Royale should have been dead by now kind of money. Most mobile games fade out by this point, quietly forgotten, but not Clash Royale. It didn't just survive, it exploded. And it wasn't just revenue. This game also brought in over 2 million downloads in a single month.
Whoa, more than Clash of Clans, really? And Brawl Stars, that's crazy.
It's not returning players, that is new players, new installs, fresh eyes, a brand new wave of users discovering Clash Royale for the first time, or coming back after years away. And it wasn't a fluke. Clash Royale was suddenly outperforming Brawl Stars, nearly matching Clash of Clans and cracking back into the top 10 highest grossing games on iOS. That just doesn't happen with mobile games. But here's the thing, there was no major content update, no new game mode, no progression fix, no economy overhaul, so how? What triggered this comeback? Because clearly something did. Just take one look at Google Trends. Search interest in Clash Royale spiked to levels not seen since 2021, and in the US, it's practically peaking. Globally, the numbers are rising fast. In fact, Clash Royale is now seeing more organic search volume than it has in over 3 years. And it is still climbing. This isn't some marketing push, this isn't some limited time event, this is real. So what is fueling it? Because Supercell didn't do anything. They didn't bring people back.
Okay, I'll be honest. Before he even goes further into the reasons why this is happening, I just want to make one prediction. And it's not even a prediction, but I think it's true to the point where you have I guess YouTubers, streamers, or content. I'll just say content creators because it could be either, but You can take someone like Jinxie, for example, who actually actively does play Clash Royale and actively spends money on the game. Now, Jinxie is a popular creator, and I've seen his TikToks before. There's plenty of TikToks that he publishes where he plays Clash Royale, and he's battled like some of the top players in the game. And I feel like he is actually a big reason why people are more intrigued by it again, I would say. Like, I feel like his influence and the things that he does has a lot to do with it. Now, I'm not saying that he's the only reason for the numbers spiking, but I do think he plays a large part in it. The way he reacts to some of these things, or the way he goes about, I guess, strategy, or how he plays in a way, the content that he makes with the game, it's almost like refreshing in a way. And I think that's Jinxie as like a personality in general. Like the reactions that he has for the different games that he plays, or for the content that he makes. A lot of them, let's be real, can be pretty over exaggerated, but they're funny, and there's a reason why people keep watching. And I think that this applies to Clash Royale as well. Like, it's not just Rainbow Six, it's not just Clash of Clans, but it's Clash Royale as well. And I do think that his influence, his reactions, or his coverage of the game in general has a lot to do with the numbers that go into it. And again, I'm not saying he's the only reason, but I do think he is a big reason why.
Players just came in anyway. And the reason why? Well, it all started with one guy.
Oh, there you go! What did I say?
And 30,000 people watching him live.
There you go.
The Jinxie effect. It wasn't a balance patch. It wasn't a new card or a flashy tournament. It was a streamer. Jinxie.
Yes. Yes.
It's not an addiction.
Yes.
No one's
Oh.
lied. It's your content or something. It's not an addiction.
Known for his energetic Rainbow Six Siege content, Jinxie was never supposed to be the face of Clash Royale, and no one really saw it coming. But in early 2025, he loaded up Clash Royale for a stream, a nostalgic throwback to a game he hadn't touched in years. The first stream, it kind of felt like a joke, just some harmless nostalgia, a one-off. But it didn't stop. Jinxie came back the next day, and the next, and soon this wasn't about nostalgia anymore. He dove headfirst into Clash Royale's competitive scene, engaging with pros, asking for tips, studying top-tier gameplay, hosting $10,000 community tournaments. And then, everything just kinda exploded. YouTube clips trended constantly. At one point, he peaked at 40,000 concurrent viewers for a mobile card game from 2016. Let that sink in. Seriously, he's been at the door since the start of this video. I know that joke's probably overused, but it's still funny to me, damn it. 40,000 people watching Clash Royale live. But why? Because Jinxie made Clash Royale fun again. He wasn't just playing, he was competing. He was learning, improving, getting coached, and through it all he showed his audience, many of whom had never played before, that Clash Royale was still thrilling, fast, and deeply competitive. And people really noticed. Even top creators like Riley and Ian77 started featuring Jinxie in their videos.
I've
One
seen
of
that.
Riley's most viewed uploads? Just Jinxie reacting to him getting #1 in the world. His enthusiasm wasn't just popular, it was contagious.
Look, I'm just hearing a lot of talk, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
I can't focus, man.
Bro. Look, man, you challenged, you called me a wimp, little bro. You called me a wimp. You fucking, man. Jinxie, you're gonna have the greasiest, slimiest, sloppiest body I've ever seen, and I can't wait for it.
Thousands of players reinstalled the game just because of him. Tens of thousands downloaded it for the first time, drawn in by his hype and raw passion. In a game many believed was circling the drain, one creator proved otherwise. And here's the thing, this wasn't a fluke. The spike in interest lined up exactly with Jinxie's stream schedule, but he wasn't alone. Jinxie brought back the excitement, but the heart of Clash Royale, that came from someone else.
I'm not gonna lie though, the reason I like it's not just the fact that you're a content creator covering the game, or the fact that you maybe, I don't know, you make content on it, or you do, I don't know, you get coaching. Like it's not like just those simple reasons. I think Jinxie as like a personality, like his character and the way he, like I said, the way he reacts to things, the content, the type of content he makes, or how he does this type of stuff, it's uniquely his. Like he hit it. The reason why he's so successful is because of his reactions, is because of how he is as a person. He's entertainment, bro. That's the reality of it. There's so many people that know who Jinxie is, and so many people who watch him. And look, his main game is Rainbow Six, but he does play other things. And I know I've seen Clash Royale all over his TikTok, man. He does such a good job with expanding out his reach into different categories and his audience. Like, if you talk about, you compare like a streamer, right? If you are a streamer, and then you can take me as a good example, that tries to dip your toes into everything, whether it's like a Souls-like game, an FPS, or any other kind of game, you're not going to find a lot of success immediately. I think it's a lot harder for a content creator to grow, because if you're constantly moving from different like platform, or not platforms, but different categories, you're never going to find a stable audience, because like a lot of the times creators will be explicitly a Souls-like creator, or explicitly a Clash of Clans creator, explicitly a Dead by Daylight creator, because that is the main game that they grow their audience from. Now, after you have an established audience and you become big enough, eventually you can start to move more into variety. But for someone who starts off as a variety streamer, you're going to have a harder time. And you can, like I said, you can take me as a prime example. Now, Jinxie, I believe, has more of his Rainbow Six roots in there, but he will still maintain his large viewership and large following into anything else that he decides to do, because of his personality, because of who he is as a person. You know, he's entertainment, and he's the reason why people continue to watch him. His personality, his reactions, overreactions, his content, just who he is. And I think that his, like I said, his following, it extends anywhere that he goes. And in this case, it happens to go to Clash Royale. And like I said, he's a big reason why there's more traction in the game. Isn't he in phase? No, Jinxie is not in phase. I don't believe so. No, he's not.
Creator who reminded us why we ever loved this game in the first place, and his name was Ken. Part 3, the Ken phenomenon. Not too long ago, one of Clash Royale's most beloved creators simply vanished. You might remember KFC Clash. If you've been around Clash Royale for a while, you definitely know the name. 600,000 subscribers strong, built entirely on skits, hilarious parodies, and crazy challenges. His content was legendary, defining an era of Clash Royale.
I'm not gonna lie, and no disrespect to this guy, but I don't remember this guy because I never watched this guy. If I remember watching like actual other Clash Royale YouTubers like Molt. I did watch Chief Pat back in the day sometimes. Nick at Night, unfortunately, is no longer Nick at Night, but you know, he stopped uploading. They like I like, these are the older YouTubers that I actually genuinely watched for Clash Royale or Clash of Clans. More so Clash Royale than Clash of Clans, but, and no, like I said, no disrespect to Ken. But I don't remember him because I maybe he came later onto the scene, but those are the guys I remember watching.
YouTube. And then almost overnight, he disappeared. No videos, no tweets, no explanation.
Sounds like burnout.
To everyone watching, it seemed like he'd thrown away everything he'd built. The success, the influence, the fame, all gone without a word. But he didn't vanish. He transformed. Today, you simply know him as Ken, and his story might just be the most genuine, organic comeback the Clash Royale community has ever witnessed.
Man, this
It
guy
all began.
this guy grinded. I could tell, bro. Look at his bed frame. Holy. This guy's a grind. Much respect to him.
Sadly, where a lot of content creators end up. Burnout. KFC Clash felt hollow to him, like he was stuck playing a role instead of being himself.
For a few reasons. A few days ago, I left the Supercell creator program and deleted my creator code so that I could swear in my own videos. So I don't have to turn into some kid-friendly, Teletubby, brand-safe fucking family channel. If you want to watch Ryan's toy reviews, this is not the place for it. Because in my Twitch chat, if I say even a swear word at the moment, it's like I've killed the Pope or something. Everyone recoils in fear as I speak the dreaded language of the devil. But the big reason I feel like I couldn't be myself is because I've been so focused on numbers and growth. I've been so focused on growth on my channel that I sucked the personality out of a lot of my videos.
Everything was optimized, polished, and meticulously planned for views, likes, and clicks.
Listen, for me personally, this is exactly what I was saying right before I even this guy even said anything about it. But burnout is a real thing, and I just recently mentioned how smaller creators will have a hard time moving for variety, and it's true. I think that's true regardless. But the thing you got to think about too is like, the more you stick with one game, and personally, maybe it's the right move to stick to a game for a while. Like, I think a lot of my own following has followed me or watched more of my Souls-like content than anything else. But then I also have, I give my opinions, my reactions, my hot takes on what I think is, what I react to, obviously. But people stick to my Souls-like content for the most part, and I don't have a large following, but from the people that do follow me, I believe that is what they've came here for. And while I still play Souls-like games, I personally don't want to feel trapped into only playing Souls games, Like, I want my freedom to play whatever I want to play. Like, if I want to play a horror game on this day, then I'll do it. If I want to play Pokemon on that day, then I'll do it. If I want to play League of Legends here, then I'll do it. But the viewership will always be affected because I'm reaching into different audiences for different games. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to grow variety. But this reason that the reason he gave for stopping, his Clash Royale uploads, Clash of Clans uploads, whatever, is for this reason exactly. To not be tied down to a specific game. And I get that 100%. Unfortunately, it is difficult though, because like I said, you start to lose part of your fan base when you diverge, because most of the people there follow you for a specific reason, for a specific game. Like, if I watch Chief Pat for Clash of Clans and then he starts playing Brawl Stars, well, then maybe I'm not going to watch Chief Pat that much, But he's still doing Supercell content, so technically I think he still has it. He probably had an easier time transitioning, but for someone like Ken, I think if he wanted to do something else, then I totally get that. And also, that's the other thing too, when you build your fan base off of something specific, and this is also a personal thing for me. Like, when I was filling out the Streamer University application, one of the questions was asking, what would you do if you had 100K viewers? And honestly, I said, I don't know. I would probably lose it all. And the reason is because, being honest here, I think that the more viewership that you tend to have, the more of a character you tend to put up. Like, it is very rare that you find people that are truly genuine and they stick to themselves, or to who they are, and they will still have that following. I think a lot of people get successful on YouTube or Twitch or something like that by playing this character, by putting up this facade, but in the background, that's not who they are. Like, you can look, for example, at Ryan's toy reviews, since this was just mentioned, and he obviously reviews those toys. The channel was built by his parents and more centered around him as a kid. It's a family kind of channel, but he's grown older, man. And I can guarantee you, he doesn't look at those toys the same way he used to when he was 7 years old. So it's like, at this point, you can tell that he's putting up a facade, and it's like, well, maybe you're better off just stopping the channel and diverging and doing your doing your own thing as you grow older. So just taking that kind of concept, I think it's more of like I said, in rare cases, you'll see the top streamers who can genuinely do whatever they want because their fan base follows them, not for a specific game. But they might start off with this game. Like XQC started off with Overwatch, but now he does whatever he wants to do, and he still has a large following. So my point, but my point is, those type of people, not everyone can be like that. A lot of people are, and forgive me for phrasing it this way, one-trick ponies, where it's like you stick to a game, that's the game, that's your fan base. But it gets you viewership, it gets you numbers. So it's like, it's a trade-off, really. But I don't find anything wrong with wanting to do your own thing and express your own freedom in that sense. So that's just my 2 takes on it.
But behind the scenes, Ken wanted more than that. He didn't just want to create Clash Royale content. He wanted to create something real. And so he made a decision that shocked everyone. He walked away. He left behind 600,000 subscribers. He stepped away from working with Mr. Beast, a position most creators would dream of. He turned down sponsorships, status, and a guaranteed path to YouTube stardom. Instead, he started fresh, launching a new channel called Ken with absolutely zero expectations. At first glance, Ken's new content wasn't special. There was no flashy edits, no carefully scripted skits, no polished thumbnails designed for maximum clicks. Instead, he simply turned on his camera, played Clash Royale, and told stories from his real life. These videos were raw, unfiltered, often messy, and incredibly human. No one predicted what might happen next. Almost overnight, Ken's new videos went from a few thousand views to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands, eventually reaching millions. Viewers weren't just watching Clash Royale, they were connecting with Ken. His videos didn't feel like content, they felt like conversations, as if you were just hanging out with a good friend who happened to be climbing the ladder in Clash
nothing wrong
Royale.
with that.
And as his channel exploded, something even bigger happened. Ken made Clash Royale feel truly alive again. He didn't chase trends, he started them. His humor, his authenticity, and his down-to-earth personality turned everyday Clash Royale moments into genuine memes. Whether he was poking fun at Elixir Column players or crafting hilarious bits around Goblin Curse, Ken gave Clash Royale a sense of culture and community
Goblin Curse, bro. What the hell is Goblin Curse?
damage.
That's a new ass card.
And did you know that Goblin Curse
What is Goblin Curse? I've never heard of that card. What?
has damage amplification? I love Goblin Curse. I don't know if I've made that clear on this channel. And the Goblin Curse, which has damage amplification. Damage amplification, give you a little boost. If something's Goblin Cursed, it's doing amplified damage. So that's why I went with the Goblin Curse for that damage amplification. Goblin Curse, shout out damage amplification. If you didn't know, that's what it does. And I'll just go for a Goblin Curse to finish this all off. Alongside the damage amplification, get a Goblin and damage amplification.
And despite having the opportunity to cash in on his sudden surge of popularity, Ken stayed humble, repeatedly turning down sponsorship deals and paid promotions. He wasn't successful because he was perfect. He was successful because he was genuine. And here's the most powerful part of Ken's comeback. His authenticity didn't just bring back nostalgic viewers. It made new players stay. Ken made people laugh. He made them care about the game in a way Clash Royale's official updates hadn't been able to do for years. In a period where official game updates felt cold, sterile, and out of touch, Ken gave Clash Royale a heartbeat, a personality. But as amazing as Ken's journey is, it wasn't happening in isolation. While Ken gave Clash Royale its emotional core and Jinxie rekindled its excitement, the resurgence was spreading. This wasn't just one or two creators anymore. This was turning into something much bigger. A wave was forming, and as it grew, it was about to become unstoppable. Let's dive into that wave because
Alright, bro. I hate how they put Captain Marvel in there with the word unstoppable. Come on now, man. We can do better than that.
it is bigger than anyone ever imagined. Part 4. The Creator Wave. Right now, Clash Royale is experiencing something remarkable. It's not just about Jinxie's hype or Ken's genuine storytelling, it is bigger. Much bigger. It is a collective wave, fueled by creators who've taken Clash Royale into their own hands, breathing new life into a game many had dismissed as done for good. Let's start with Alt, a name you might not recognize unless you've been blessed by the glory of the Barbarian Hut. Yep, you heard that right. This guy dedicated his entire channel to Barb Hut, the forgotten card gathering dust in the corner of your uncle's basement. His content isn't just absurdly chaotic and unhinged, it is
I like this. I actually like this freaking thumbnail, bro.
Irresistibly hilarious. He takes something mundane and makes it extraordinary, transforming a seemingly useless building into an icon. Alt isn't just making memes, he's rediscovering the pure joy of Clash Royale, reminding everyone why we started playing in the first place. And fans are eating it up, desperate for a new upload. Then there is Brad. Brad is not your typical YouTuber. He doesn't upload daily. He doesn't even upload weekly. In fact, you might even forget that he exists between videos. But
Yeah, this was the guy that did make that video, huh? Complaining about Clash Royale. See, here's the thing. Like, while I like the fact that there are creators that are doing this, and I think it's actually interesting that they're reviving the game, if you want to call it that. I also think there's a serious issue with. I still think there's a serious issue with the dev team where if you have to rely on creators to quote unquote revive your game and make it more fun to play again, then I think you have a serious issue that needs to be addressed. And the fact that there's been so many issues with the game, with community feedback that the team doesn't listen to, with the direction that they put the game in, like it's out. It's like it's baffling to me that they're still getting players. Like, if the only thing that interests your community or your fan base or your player base to continue to play the game or to come back to the game or to get new people to play the game, if the only thing that incentivizes that is content creation, I think that says more about the game, like the dev team and the game creators, than it does anything else. Like, I definitely feel like there should be some level of accountability with making sure that the game is as fun to play, as balanced to play as possible. Call me crazy, but I think that's logical. I don't know.
when a new one drops, it hits every single time. Why? Because Brad is brutally honest. If he hates the game one day, he'll tell you. If he loses badly and feels like trash, he'll laugh it off and post it anyway. And even though he doesn't love Clash Royale as intensely as before, fans trust him completely. His videos feel like you're just chilling with an old friend, laughing at how ridiculously frustrating, and somehow still addictive, the game can be. Then there's Saxon. If you've ever needed a break from the chaos, Saxon is your guy. His content feels like a warm summer evening, casually climbing ladder while telling laid-back stories that resonate deeply with viewers. There's a quiet authenticity in his videos that make him uniquely enjoyable. It's like listening to your favorite podcast while your friend climbs a ladder. He's chill, relatable, and genuinely good at the game, making his content a perfect blend of skill and storytelling. But honestly, this isn't just about individual creators anymore. What we're witnessing is an entire generation, both new and old, lifting Clash Royale up for a second life. Each creator is contributing something unique, something personal, and something real. When you combine all those voices, you don't just get videos, you get a thriving, living community. So the big question in all of this is, where is Supercell in all of this? I know that's the big one a lot of people have on their mind. Because while these content creators have built a new era of Clash Royale, the developers seem kind of trapped in the past. If they don't start paying attention now, if they don't seize this moment, they might squander the biggest opportunity this game has seen in years. And that is exactly what we need to talk about next. Part 5. Supercell's missed opportunity.
Yeah, so like I said, this is basically, I feel like I'm like almost predicting what this guy is going to say in the video, but it's like, you know, the fact that Supercell even has this little outburst in players again should tell me that they definitely shouldn't throw this opportunity away. I think content creation can only get you so far if the game is stale. Does that make sense? Like, to this degree with Clash Royale, I definitely feel like they need to do something soon to make the game better, to listen to their fans' feedback, because otherwise the numbers are just going to go back down. And instead of going back up again, it will keep going down, unfortunately. You know, to be honest, I thought that this game would have died off already previously, because I think that's where it was headed, but you know, they have another chance. So let's see what they do with it.
Right now, something truly extraordinary is happening inside of Clash Royale. Creators are breathing life into the game, players are flooding back, and the excitement hasn't felt this real in years. It is a renaissance, one of the rare moments a game dreams of. But there is one massive problem. Supercell is nowhere to be found. No meaningful updates, no communication, not even the slightest acknowledgement of what's going on. The community's frustration is kind of reaching its breaking point, because this revival isn't happening because of Supercell. It's happening in spite of them. And the players, they're not just sitting around complaining. They're desperately trying to fix things themselves. They're posting ideas, not vague complaints, but thoughtful, genuinely game-changing concepts. Things like bringing back chests as battle rewards, the iconic progression system that once made matches truly feel rewarding, instead of today's frustrating, lucky drop system. Creating a season shop that actually matters, with meaningful ways to earn Evo shards, banners, wild cards, and even built-in pity systems to make progression feel fair again. Let's be honest here, challenges kinda need a rework. They need to offer rewards that players actually care about, not just the same recycled emotes and pitiful amounts of gold. Addressing the most frustrating cards, Firecracker, Elixir Column, Royal Recruits, cards that don't just annoy but actively ruin the enjoyment of battles. Cards whose designs create more frustration than fun. And finally, but most importantly,
Yo, what was on that?
designs create more frustration than fun.
What is this image? Oh my god. What? Is that a P.E.K.K.A?
And
Oh my dude. Yo, these are some down bad
finally,
people,
but
bro.
most importantly, implement true community-driven card balancing, not based purely on win rates and stats, but on how the game actually feels to play. On top of all of this, players aren't just making suggestions, they're holding Supercell accountable. Some have even uncovered misleading advertising in the App Store, where screenshots still show legendary chests, despite them being quietly removed from the game.
Dude, when was that? When did they remove that though? Damn, this shows how much I've been keeping up with the game, but that's crazy they removed it.
Players are calling out this blatant deception, labeling it as exactly what it is: manipulative design, promising something great and delivering something worse, all while microtransactions are at an all-time high. It's painful to watch, especially knowing how great Clash Royale could truly be. Supercell stands at the crossroads of a historic moment. They have a chance to listen, to actually listen to a passionate community begging them to care. They don't even need to get it perfect, just a gesture, a sign, a step in the right direction. If they ignore this moment, Clash Royale could go down as one of the biggest missed opportunities in the history of mobile gaming. But there is one last twist to this story, because if Supercell chooses to finally pay attention, if they open their eyes and realize what's happening right now, this comeback could transform into something far greater than anyone ever imagined. It's time to talk about exactly how they can make that happen. Part 6. Where Clash Royale goes from here.
I'm not gonna lie though, call me crazy again, but I feel like a part of me thinks that the game is already so far down the drain that like even if you start implementing good updates right now, it might not completely recover everything that it lost. Like, for example, evolutions were pretty broken, and I'm sure they still are, but it's like evolutions are permanently in the game now. Like once you make a decision, you can't go back on it. You can't remove it because people already paid money for it. So it's like if you make a bad implementation in the game, you have to stick with it and try to weed it out as much as you can. Try to balance it as much as you can. But I feel like with Clash Royale, they've done so many things wrong that it's like, well, I don't know how far back, like how far back you can go to recover the things that, or the people, the players that you've lost. Because I think that they've actually just destroyed their community as time has gone on. And honestly, I'll be real, how much more can you really add to Clash Royale? Like, I feel like it's so limited in what you can change, what you can add. Like, I don't know. And also, yeah, the microtransactions, don't even get me started on that. Clash Royale for sure. But you know, it doesn't have that same feel that it once had.
Right now, Clash Royale is kind of sitting on an absolute goldmine. Millions are playing again, watching again, and creating content again. But here is the harsh reality. This explosive revival is built on cracked foundations. Progression still feels broken and unfair, matchmaking still leaves players frustrated, and communication from the developers is, let's be honest, non-existent. In short, the community is doing everything right, while Supercell is standing still. But here's the crucial thing to understand. It's not too late. Supercell doesn't need a miracle. I mean, they already kind of got one. They just need to meet the moment. And here's exactly how they can do it. Start with communication. Talk to the players openly and honestly. Show a roadmap, host a developer Q&A, make a simple statement. Anything to acknowledge what is happening right now and to show you're listening. Fix the broken progression system, whether it means bringing back the rewarding thrill of battle chests, creating a genuine and meaningful season shop, or removing the frustration of randomized lucky drops. Make players feel like their time matters again. Balance the game for fun, not just numbers. Listen to the community's frustration about cards that ruin their experience.
What? Skeletons destroying a Valkyrie?
Just numbers. Listen
Holy oh, it's level 3. Oh my
to the
god,
community's
bro.
frustration about cards
That is crazy.
that ruin their experience. Cards like Firecracker, Mega Knight, and Royal Recruits. They don't have to be statistically broken to feel unfair. Addressing these cards would instantly make the game feel healthier, fairer, and genuinely enjoyable again. And most importantly, support your creators. They are the true lifeblood of this revival. They've kept Clash Royale alive when Supercell wasn't paying attention. The community trusts them, loves them, and listens to them. Empower them, work with them, celebrate them, because creators aren't just marketing your game, they're protecting it. Supercell stands at a crossroads. They have two clear paths ahead. They can double down on short-term profits, squeezing the game dry for every cent, ultimately driving players away again, or they can double down on trust. Listen to their players, collaborate with creators, and build something that's not just profitable, but sustainable. Something that can flourish for another decade. I mean, think about it. Millions of us are still playing a game we were told was supposed to die years ago. A game filled to the brim with frustrating flaws, yet bursting with unmatched potential. So imagine just for a second what could happen if Supercell finally woke up. Imagine a Clash Royale that didn't just return to its former glory, but surpassed it. Imagine updates players begged for. Imagine a game built by and for the community. Imagine Clash Royale becoming bigger, better, and more beloved than ever before. It is entirely possible. All Supercell has to do is finally open their eyes. I know this was a bit of a departure from our normal content on the channel, but oh my god, it's been insanely exciting to see this game blow up. All the new content, the massive focus on it has been astounding. But if you need something to watch while you're waiting for the next big update, you don't want to miss this other video where I cover every broken skeleton in Clash Royale ever. Trust me, this is a story you absolutely need to see. I'll see you there.
Well, there you have it.
Clash Royale is bugged.
There you go. There it is. I mean, like I said, it's basically the same thing that we reiterated last time, which is, I mean, Clash Royale's dev team, they definitely need to take a look in the mirror and address a lot of these problems that the community brings to light. And they are honestly the main reason why the game has been failing. If you ask me, like, I would genuinely wonder how the dev team for Clash Royale feels seeing more success on the other games that Supercell has created, like Clash of Clans, Brawl Stars, all that type of stuff. Meanwhile, the Clash Royale team is the one that's getting the most hate. And deservedly so, I'll be honest. But even despite all this, the one thing I disagree, and I think it's up for debate, but it's the fact that, like, having a couple good updates here and there doesn't mean the game is going to be back to how it used to be. I feel like for sure they should listen to their player base, but again, how much or how far back can you really go in terms of recovering the players that you've lost? Like if there's a player that has quit the game, what is going to incentivize me to re-download it and play again? Like you have to be really adamant with the changes that you make towards the game, the balance in the game and all that type of stuff in order to get me to want to play the game again. If it's not pay to win. But see, that's the thing. That's the problem, right? The problem is that whenever you have a game like Supercell does with Clash Royale, the second you make a bad decision, especially in a live service game, you need to stick with that decision. It doesn't matter what happens. You have to try and weed it out as much as you can, because the reality of it is people paid for these things. It is pay to win, but people pay for these things, for this progress, for this chest, for this card. So like if you, for example, if you make a card that is just completely broken and unfair, you can't just remove it, because you advertise this as something as part of a microtransaction, and people, not going to be me, that's for sure, but people paid for this card. People paid for copies of the card to upgrade it. So if the card is broken, if the card is super bad for the game, it's super like it's toxic or whatever, well, unfortunately, you're not just going to remove it because people already paid for it. I guarantee you that's going to be an even worse decision if you decide to do that, because it's going to be a bigger loss to the people that paid money for it. So, you got to think about that. And I'll be honest, like I said, Evolutions, I'm not the most proud of personally. I didn't like it. And I think the thing I really didn't like was the balance of it. Now, I don't know if they fix that nowadays, but you can't just remove evolutions from the game. So I think whatever they decide to do, you got to stick with it. You got to live with it, that's why I said, like, how far back can you really go when it comes to bringing back your player base? Now, you talk about pay to win. The game is pay to win. Look at the transactions that they have. Look at the balance of the game that they have, the matchmaking, like all this type of stuff you can allude to. But I don't think that's something that you can really fix, because at the end of the day, I think you're at a point where it's too far gone with, let's say, evolutions. Well, I mean, if someone has like the best evolutions, all like they max everything, like they have all the right card, like you can't compete against that, not unless you somehow get the cards as well, unless you somehow get the evolutions as well. You don't have a chance. And I feel like people have already spent so much money that you're kind of like you're right here. This is where the game started, right here. And then as time goes on, it just goes down right here. And right here is where the game state is at. So it's like, if I'm a player that's returning to the game, I don't have all these evolutions. I don't have the card unlocked. And there's so many different cards in the game now, I don't even know. But I don't have all of them. So it's like the people that did pay, it's pay to win, well, they're always going to be at the top because they paid money. But for someone that's returning, how can you expect me to compete against that, So it's like there's always going to be a discrepancy there. And then matchmaking, obviously, you can go towards the matchmaking issue, where the cards are unfairly balanced, where it's like it's too high of a level for me to compete. Maybe it's not high enough, it's too easy, or maybe like this guy has, like I told you, there used to be a diamond pass where you could get the Archer Queen. Doesn't matter what arena level you're at. On my alt account on Arena 7, some dude had the Archer Queen. And it's not about the Archer Queen being a good card. It's about the fact that you have a card that is inaccessible to me until I get to like Arena 12 or 13 or some shit like that. Like, that's the unfair part about it. And that's just an example too. So it's like, what can really be done to fix these issues,